afternoon, and welcome to the Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission. My name is Monica Alexander, and I'm the Executive Director here. It is such an honor to have all of you here, and thank you for being here. It is my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce to you Governor Jay Inslee, the governor of this great state. Governor Inslee?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, first off, let me say that looking at this esteemed group behind me, it is a bad day to be a criminal in Burien, Washington, I'll tell you. I want to thank everybody for what we're going to talk about. I particularly want to thank Director Alexander, which is recognized as the best criminal justice training center in the United States. Congratulations to the work you do. I really appreciate what you do. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons it's recognized as the best, and President Obama recognized this even years ago, it is the one that has the most successful way to help law enforcement understand de-escalation techniques. And we're going to try to work on this here somehow. I might just speak without that if that works for everybody. We know everyone on this gathering understands the importance of public safety. And everyone in this gathering understands the importance of law enforcement officers to public safety. And I want to say things very, very clearly. The profession of law enforcement is a necessary and noble profession that all of us need to respect every single day. And I believe that for a variety of reasons. And it is our public responsibility to make sure that the law enforcement officers have what they need to provide us a professional, safe ability to keep us safe in our homes, in our communities. And we know we have work to do in that regard. Today, we're going to talk about how we can work together in one of the biggest challenges facing law enforcement in the United States, not just in our state, but in the United States. We know that recruitment of law enforcement officers is challenging across the United States right now. In Ohio, Colorado, and Arizona, in New York, law enforcement numbers are down across the United States, and we have not been immune to that phenomenon. This has led to few officer openings, up and down small, medium, and large size police forces. Now, we've seen workforce shortages in many industries. We know we need more nurses. We know we need more mental health professionals. But we know we need more police officers on the street to be there to answer the 911 call. We expect someone to be there when there's a call to 911. And to do so, we need to up our game in the state of Washington to help recruit these officers. And we also understand high technology at the Criminal Justice Training Center as well.
No feedback.
Thank you. So accordingly, in order to address this shortage of police officers, I'm announcing today that I will be proposing a significant expansion of our Criminal Justice Training Commission to offer basic law enforcement training at new regional campuses across the state of Washington. We want good training where you live in the state of Washington. These new campuses will maintain the same high-quality instruction that we have had right here in Burien, Washington. Now, right now, we have 134 recruits who unfortunately have to wait an average of 4 months just to start this training. That is not acceptable to us. We need these people to get on the street ASAP. Currently, recruits must attend training just at this location. They've got to travel, they've got to be away from their homes and their families. Being a law enforcement officer is tough enough without having to go through that disruption. This has created a logjam in the process. It creates a barrier to recruitment of fine people, and we need to do better. Now, as you hear from law enforcement today, this effort to to fund more training and establish new regional training locations is going to help the number of officers, but it'll also help the recruitment of officers, which is a major challenge, again, across the United States. These officers will be trained by the CDC in accordance with the updated standards by legislators in recent sessions. And here's why I want to emphasize that point. For those who want to keep officers safe and the public safe in interactions, the single best thing you can do is have a well-trained officer. And we are going to have well-trained officers to reduce untoward interactions with our citizens. And it starts right here, and now it's going to start in Eastern Washington just as well. So we know this is a challenging time for law enforcement. It's been a challenging time for all of us, for a combination of COVID and the issues we've had to deal with. And I know that we're committed to working together through those challenges. I do want to note, and I do think it is important to note, that we have recognized this for some time. And we have been working on this for some time. I want to thank the legislators who joined me in increasing funding for this academy to the tune of $8.7 million. I want to thank people in the legislators who helped us increase the pension benefits over the last several years. I want to thank the legislators who've helped us increase compensation for state troopers by over 40% since I've been governor. So we've been taking steps to help law enforcement, but we clearly need to step with pedal to the metal. So I'm proud to have an opportunity to support law enforcement today. I know there's much we need to do going forward. Now, going forward, I want to thank a particular group of people as well, and that's the people who've decided to make this their profession. You know, there's a lot of things to do when you're 19, 20, 21, and people who go into law enforcement, I've learned to have a certain motivation, and that is public service. When you talk to people who are going into law enforcement, whether it's for the federal government or a small city or a big police force or the Washington State Patrol, there is an underlying desire to provide public service, to try to protect your community, to make it a little safer place. And by the way, to protect democracy, which is under attack right now. And I want to show my respect for those people. Now, when I meet somebody who really inspires me, I have a privilege as governor of the state of Washington to name them the Washingtonian of the day. And when I do that, I take off my governor's Apple pin and I pin them on them. Today, I want to say that the Washingtonian of the day is Cadet Adriana Muzar, who's now with the King County Sheriff's Department. Come on up here. Can I pin this on you? I got permission to pin this on you? We want to thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Now, you tell those other cadets that they're just as good as you. But it's a good day. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you very much. I now want to introduce someone who's been a fantastic leader in the state legislature, Senator John Lovick, who left the Washington State Patrol. And he has been such a voice to try to have a very successful way to recruit more officers, have better resources for them. He's also been a very successful advocate to bring more diversity into our police agencies, because we know that when people feel more familiar with folks in the agencies, public safety gets better. And I'm going to introduce John, and John, I'll tell you, I'm very pleased that I got to swear in the most diverse crop of new state patrolmen and women in the history of the state of Washington. Come on up here, Senator John Lovick. You've done great work.
Thank you very much, Governor. And I just want to start by saying good afternoon, everybody, and thank all of you for being here. I want to start by thanking Governor Inslee not only for your strong support of law enforcement, but also for supporting this proposal of regional law enforcement training campuses in Washington. We plan to introduce this idea during the 2023 legislative session. Also, a special thanks to our law enforcement leaders for supporting regional training campuses. I won't forget having breakfast in March with Algona Police Chief James Shrimpshire and Michael Transu from the Fraternal Order of Police when they discussed the idea of regional campuses. After talking with them, I drove here to the Academy and presented the idea to Director Alexander. And you have to know this, Director Alexander and I have known each other for almost 25 years, and we talk sometimes 4 or 5 times a day. But our conversation that day did not go well. In fact, when I floated the idea by her of having regional training academies, the idea landed like a lead balloon. To her credit, she called me a few days later and said she wanted to talk more about the details. So here we are. During the 2022 legislative session, we expanded our training slots at our law enforcement academies. Those slots are now full. The training here in Burien and the academy in Spokane have recruits waiting to be trained. While this might be great progress for our state, it's not great for our communities that need more police officers now. With law enforcement agencies around our state looking to hire new officers, we need to make sure we continue the great work that we're doing. And that's why we are hoping to add regional training campuses across Washington. This proposal that I will be proposing hopefully will add a regional training campus in Pasco. We toured the facility last week, Vancouver, Everett, and Bellingham. We believe that these training campuses will make recruitment easier and lessen the burden on our trainees who have to travel long hours for training. This regional solution will expand access to law enforcement careers and will help train local law enforcement professionals who know the areas they serve. I've seen many times the difference that makes in protecting communities. Our regional training campuses will bring relief to law enforcement agencies that have been overburdened and understaffed. I'm totally optimistic that the investments we make with this proposal will help the next generation of law enforcement professionals step up and serve. Our work to keep our communities safe is far from over, but this is a great step in the right direction. Our message to our community is this: we are listening and we hear you. We are bringing these law enforcement trainings to you. We are bringing these training campuses to your backyard. Having these law enforcement professionals join the ranks sooner will not only help keep us safe, but will make us feel safe in our homes, on our streets, and protect our children in their schools. My message to my colleagues here in the legislature is this: 2 words. Let's build. Let's build. Let's build more law enforcement training campuses in other parts of our state. Let's build campuses to train the new generation of law enforcement professionals, professionals who will change the culture of policing in our communities. Let's build. With that, I would like to introduce Chief Steve Crown from the Wenatchee Police Department. He's also the president of the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs. Thank all of you for being here.
Thank you, Senator. I'm Steve Crown. I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Wenatchee, and I'm also the WASPIC president. I'm going to keep my comments very brief. I think that the turnout that you see here today speaks volumes. This is a topic of high concern, and what's more important, there's high energy behind the idea of going regionalized on our basic law enforcement academy. In Washington State, across the nation, everybody knows that there is a difficulty in getting new officers on board and getting them into this profession. Even though you'll see all these professionals behind me are implementing very innovative strategies to recruit the very best, get diversity within our law enforcement agencies, train them to the highest standard, and retain them throughout their career. However, we struggle. There is no innovative program that comes up, and there's no one solution that is going to solve this deficit. Here in Washington State alone, last year, we saw a deficit with all these innovative ideas and creative ideas of getting officers on board. We still had a 495 officer deficit. That means everybody that gets hired, and we lost. So taking that net loss into consideration, it illustrates how desperate our state really is. This plan builds both access and capacity. You've heard the governor and the senator also talk about the relief that could be provided not only for the recruit that has to spend 720 hours at the academy, but they have the ability to put TAC officers and instructors across our state. That helps alleviate the at-home issues, the things that we all think about with being overexpended at work. So from that standpoint, again, this is a huge up point. We're encouraged at WASPC. We are very encouraged that Governor Inslee and Senator Lovelich and also Director Alexander are cooperating and talking about this true future of what could be in Washington State. That's very encouraging. I think we can all agree that regionalizing the academy is not the silver bullet, excuse the pun. But it is a portion of a larger plan that has to support law enforcement and keep our people highly engaged on the enforcement front. Getting the very best through our doors at the academy and then training them to the highest standard should be everybody, and I know it is the importance of everybody that stands behind me right now. So with that, I would like to introduce King County Sheriff Patty Cole Tilden to come up and speak as well.
Thank you, Chief Crown. Hello, I am Patty Cole Tyndall, King County Sheriff. I want to thank Governor Inslee for inviting me today to speak regarding the expansion of the Washington State Criminal Justice Law Enforcement Training by the creation of regional academies. I also want to acknowledge Senator Lovelich and Director Alexander for their leadership on this new approach. And I also want to thank Executive Dow Constantine for appointing me to this important role and for collaborating to build the public safety agency that the residents of King County desire. Thank you, Executive. The Criminal Justice Training Commission has served the King County Sheriff's Office successfully for many years. Our vision and values align, and we have shared a collaborative relationship. The CJTC provides excellent training in a space that accommodates not only the academy, but also ongoing training for our commissioned officers. The location of the CJTC is convenient for the King County Sheriff's Office. It allows me and my command staff to visit our recruits throughout their time in the academy. More locations across the state will provide other law enforcement agencies the same opportunity to engage with their recruits given the convenience of the training venues to their jurisdictions. This is an exciting as well as a challenging time for law enforcement across this nation. With challenge brings change and opportunity. Our communities are demanding innovation from law enforcement, and the CJTC is responding by providing training facilities at multiple locations across the state. This will support innovation. We in law enforcement in every jurisdiction are experiencing staffing challenges due to vacancies. Currently, at the King County Sheriff's Office, we have 118 deputy vacancies, and it takes approximately 10 months to fully train a deputy, and that includes their 19 weeks spent here at the Academy. This effort being announced today will provide for more access to the Basic Law Enforcement Academy and will result in more new peace officers being trained across the state at the same time. The result will be more officers on the street and will have a direct impact on crime reduction. This is good news for us all. Our communities are at the heart of everything that we do. The regional approach announced today by Governor Inslee instills this approach with the locations we are training our police. By providing the Basic Law Enforcement Academy training regionally, it will allow recruits to be closer to their homes and closer to the communities they will eventually serve. Again, another positive that is good for us all. In closing, I am supportive of this approach to create regional academies throughout the state as an effort to train more peace officers, and I look forward to the innovation it will bring. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Pasco Police Chief Roski.
Thank you, Sheriff. I'm Ken Roski, the police chief in Pasco, and I'm excited for this opportunity and echo the comments that have already been made about the challenges associated with recruiting quality candidates and the ability to get them into the academy because of the backlog. I think as we look for viable candidates to become police officers, there is a segment that we recognize that we miss because they don't have the opportunity to relocate someplace for 4.5 months away from their family. We recently had a viable candidate at Pasco that we wanted to send through the testing process and go to the academy. Unfortunately, the qualified candidate could not leave their family, leave her 2- and 4-year-old children at home for 4.5 months. She certainly could have gone to the academy during the day and went back home for opportunities to take care of the children that she had. She couldn't do that for 4.5 months to relocate. More directly to Eastern Washington and some of our single family, bilingual families that only have one person, maybe it's a 21 or 23-year-old son or daughter in the home, we know that they can't leave for 4.5 months with nobody left at home. The parents are busy working, they have younger children, but the single-speaking, English-speaking son or daughter could leave for the day to go to the academy and then return at night to help with the family. Those are quality people in our communities that we are not able to effectively recruit and retain. What we are also missing is the cultural diversity that would bring, not only from different walks of life, but from those people that normally want to serve a community but just can't relocate. The regional academy concept is going to allow us to enhance community policing for all the way through. All of our communities out here embrace community policing. Unfortunately, Eastern Washington, in our area, we can't send community members effectively to graduations or to participate in the academy. Having those regionally across the state is going to allow those communities to attend the graduations, to be part of those academy classes, and bring the different cultures that each of our areas have to offer, and embed those and work those more closely with our recruits, have a better understanding of the communities that they're going to serve as they leave and become effective police officers throughout the state. And quite frankly, chiefs and sheriffs here today, that's all they want. They want the most diverse workforce that they can, and we know that by having a diverse culture in our workforces, other people can start seeing themselves serving as police officers. So it's a domino effect that we're going to ultimately see by the opportunity for regional academies. You know, in closing, I want to thank the governor for his foresight, willingness to help us recognize these challenges. In the Tri-City metro area, the chiefs and sheriffs are here to offer their support and their commitment to the regional academy concept. And in the Tri-Cities, the Pasco campus stands ready to be a regional academy. Thank you.
I want to comment on the prospects of making this happen. I think they're excellent because the public knows we need more police officers. To get them, we have to give them training, and we have to give them the best training available, and that's right here with the CJT. And we know it works better where they live, so we're going to build this capacity. And legislators also know this. I'll just relate a story. I met a trainer here a couple of years ago, and he told me a story. He said he used to work in the Las Vegas Police Department, and he got into a fight with a citizen trying to enforce the law, not because he was quarrelsome, but just because of the nature of what was going on. He said, like every week, he'd end up with a physical fight with some guy. Then he came up here, and he got the training here about how to de-escalate violence to keep himself safe while still executing his duties. And he said, I've been in a fight for months. We have the secret of safety for everyone. It's good training. And we're going to make sure everybody gets it across the state of Washington. And by the way, we also have a good leader, John Lovick. He made pickleball the state sport. If he can do that, he can do this. So I'm counting on that. Happy to stand for questions. Direct them to anyone you'd like.
Governor, this idea is not necessarily new. I know it's been floating around for years, if not a decade. Why do you feel that today is the right opportunity to jump on this? And would this have been possible last year or the year before?
Well, I think the need is just more acute. We're not unique, as I've said. The entire nation is suffering a shortage of nurses and counselors and psychologists and police officers. And we need to respond to that shortage in our neck of the woods right here in Washington State, and we're doing that. So it's the acute nature of this challenge, the ability to do it, and frankly, you've seen law enforcement and legislators come together with a universal approach, or I hope will be near universal, to make this happen. So this is the right moment. I'm glad we're doing it.
Governor or Senator Lovett, I know this is just beginning these plans, but do we have any idea as far as how much this could potentially cost? We're talking about all of these new locations.
Well, I'm going to defer to John, but this could be some of the best investments we've ever made in the state of Washington. Whatever it costs to make this available is a tremendous asset. To having a well-trained officer rather than nobody there to answer your 911 call is a heck of a good deal. John?
I'll just say this. We're doing the work now, and I probably spend a couple of 2 or 3 hours a day. There's a lady here by the name of Sonia Hallam. She and I talk every day. We will have a price, but as far as I'm concerned, I saw Mr. Tim Ormsby here. He's from the House Appropriations Committee. Cost is not going to be the issue that we're going to deal with. This is something that we need to do. And I don't have to write these budgets. I just have to request them. So we're not going to let cost stop us from doing what we need to do. This is something we need to do. And I'll just say this. When you see these brave men and women standing behind us, what they want and what they tell me every day is they want to keep the community safe. They want to keep people safe in their homes, on our streets, and protect our children in their schools. So cost will have nothing to do with that. Thank you.
Also, the Spokane Police knows where Tim Ormsby lives, too. So, any other questions?
Governor, what's being done to attract more people to this profession and get them to take the first step to even apply?
Well, as I've indicated, we are doing some things and have in the last 2 years. From our agency in State Patrol, we've raised compensation over 40% in the last several years. We statewide have both made the pension system more stable and more attractive in the pension system. All agencies are involved in very heavy recruitment efforts, going out and talk to people in high school that look like they have something on the ball. As I've indicated, we are particularly focusing on having a more diverse workforce in law enforcement. And I was very proud to swear in the most diverse State Patrol crowd in state history. So we are working on recruitment in so many different ways. But It doesn't do a lot of good if you can recruit someone, then they can't get the training, or they don't want to sign up because they don't want to tear their family for 4 months away from their home. So this is not the only thing we need to do. We need to do many things. By the way, I want to address this issue. Look, the answer to our law enforcement, to our challenges in our communities, is not only more police officers. We need better mental health care for people. We need more psychologists who can help law enforcement in the pursuit of their duties. We need more counselors in our schools. We need more counselors in our schools and mental health professionals in our schools so you can intervene with these kids when they got a problem before they meet the officer when they're in problem. We need more intervention systems like I saw in Yakima 2 days ago, which took a kid that was in a gang whose father was a drug dealer, but because of this intervention group in Yakima is now is an apprentice diesel mechanic. That young man's life is turned around. We need more of those people so they don't have to meet these people. So this is just one part of this. And by the way, here's something that I don't think people understand. The people who understand this best are the leaders in law enforcement. You talk to any chief of police and they'll tell you exactly what I said. Try to keep these kids from out of trouble in the first place. Make the investments, and we've put almost $1 billion in our school this year to increase counselors and mental health professionals to do that kind of work. So this is just one piece of a larger effort, but it is a vital one. Anything else? Thank you very much. Be safe. Go Mariners. Take care.
Senator?